How is everybody doing? What I want to do with this video is I want to highlight a player each time I play a game. If you're here for the My Career and the gameplay, go ahead and watch. But also, if you want to learn more about Zach LaVine, he's been a teammate of mine, of my career player. He's been a very nice teammate. He's also the best player on the team right now. And I kind of want to go over how he went from a person who wasn't highly recruited out of high school, who didn't start on his college team, to the number one guy on the Chicago Bulls right now. Until I got there, of course. But Paul LaVine is Zach LaVine's father. He was like a semi-professional athlete. His father was. He played in the USFL and a season in 1987 strike in the USFL. He played in Canada overseas, and then he was injured during a tryout with the Oakland Raiders. And then Zach LaVine was born March 10th, 1995. He's currently 25 years old. His hometown is Bothell, Washington. He went to Bothell, Washington High School, of course. But this is about Zach growing up. His father said in an interview with Sam Smith, Zach started walking at about 6 months, doing things that other babies, of course it doesn't fit to the side, it doesn't fit. Hold on. There we go. That other babies weren't doing, his father says. I'd take him to the park and put him on the monkey bars, and he'd hold himself up for 30 seconds at 4 to 5 years old. This is a weird story. I played softball in a pro league. His father played softball. And a guy had a baseball bat on his t-shirt. Zach would be trying to grab the bat and swing it from the pitcher. I'm thinking, this kid is different. In second grade, he was going to the park to play sixth grade kids for money. He'd come home with about $10 each time. He was always playing 2, 3, or 4 years ahead of what he was. His father also goes on, I also told him to chase his dreams, referring to Zach. That's what he did. I remember one time he had one of those career days in high school, or career days in school, and his fourth grade teacher asked him what he wanted to be. Zach said he wanted to be an NBA star. The teacher told him to write down something more realistic. And of course, him and his wife, me and my wife, I'm speaking as him, me and my wife went to the school and said, that's my son's dream, don't mess it up. That's what he wants to be. So that's the kind of person his father is. He was playing multiple sports growing up. Zach was. The thing that they contribute to him choosing basketball was Michael Jordan's movie Space Jam. Became the turning point. Though he did not commit to just basketball in ninth grade. So all the way through until ninth grade, he was playing multiple sports. So I think that helped his athleticism a lot, because you're playing multiple sports. He played baseball and other things. His father, Paul, said about Zach, the first thing you have to do is be honest and let them know what they are doing wrong. I've only stood up and cheered for Zach once. Imagine being a father of an NBA star. I've only stood up and cheered for him once during his whole... That's crazy. This is what it says, I never wanted him to know he was better than what he was. I always sat on the other side of his high school game so I could hear the criticism of what they said about Zach, and we could work on those things. I told him when he gets older, the coaches are going to be even worse. And I think that's funny, because then he played for Tom Thibodeau. And then him and Tom Thibodeau apparently got along. Zach said, that this is himself saying, I didn't go to a lot of sleepovers. I didn't go to a lot of parties. I had one girlfriend my entire life. I met her when I was in junior high, and we've been together ever since. And I remember seeing him propose to somebody, his high school sweetheart, so I'm assuming that's her. I think her name's Hunter. I think, because it says we've been together ever since, Hunter. But this is about Zach. I don't want to go too into his girlfriend. It's a little creepy. Zach's dad, Paul, didn't have his father around, so he wanted to be there for his kids. Paul quit his construction job when it wouldn't give him much time. It wouldn't give him much time at home with Zach. He gave up softball, wise choice. Sorry, I put that part in, and started a delivery business. On days off, Zach would join him for the drives around Seattle. Coming from the suburbs, south of Seattle. Zach LaVine was Mr. Basketball. He was still overlooked, it says. He was not McDonald's All-American, barely in the top 50 collegiate prospects after a hip joint injury in high school. Now I'm going to go over his high school stats. As a sophomore, he averaged 25.8 points. He played in 17 games, so he had a hip injury. His high school wouldn't allow him to play varsity when he was a freshman, and they don't have his freshman stats. They only have that. So let's see. So he averaged 3 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 0.8 steals, and 0.1 blocks. He shot 39% from the field and 34% from the three-point line. So pretty good sophomore year. And then he hurt himself. He broke his hip. He sat out his junior year, and then his senior year. And I believe this was what Zach said from his web. I went to his website. I had the misfortune of injuring my hip during an AAU summer game while attempting to dunk. An MRI indicated a clean break in my hip joint, which led to me being sidelined for most of my junior AAU season. My hometown high school was where was it? Sorry, I lost my track. Was a 3-year high school, so as a freshman, like I said before, I was not allowed to play at the varsity level. So when my sophomore year hit, I was definitely ready to show the varsity stage what I was all about. I averaged a league-leading 26 points as a sophomore, good enough for third in my state. I put my name on the map and turned a few heads by picking up 7 offers from NCAA Division I colleges at the end of this first high school season. At this point, I was ranked the number one basketball player in Washington State and landed in the top 50 in the country. My team improved enough to gain a berth in the state tournament before losing in the first round. His senior year, he played 26 games. So he played more because the sophomore season he only played 17 and got injured. But his senior year he averaged 28.5, 3.4 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 0.6 steals, and 0.2 blocks. But he shot 56% from the field and 31% from the three-point line. So that 56, that huge improvement. He went to UCLA because his father believed that it would be better for him. His father was a huge influence on his life, obviously. But the team wasn't very good. The only guys I see, Norman Powell is a name I recognized. Kyle Anderson. Zach LaVine, of course. There's a guy named Tony Parker on his team, but that's not Tony Parker. His UCLA team wasn't, as far as NBA standards, very good. But he was a sixth man coming off the bench. UCLA. These are his statistics for that one season. 9.4 points a game, 2.5 rebounds, 1.8 assists, 0.2 blocks. Never someone that athletic. I would think he would be a good better. He'd get more steals and he would get more blocks. 1.1 turnovers. He shot 44% from the field and 37.5% from the three-point line. He had some really good games, but he would go in these weird slumps. Like for 3 games, he averaged below 10 points, and then he would score 16, and then have a 9-point game, and then a 19, and then a 9, and then the last part of his college season, his last 5 games, the highest points he ever had was 5. So I don't know if he was injured. The minutes were low, but maybe the minutes were low because he was injured, or maybe he wasn't. I didn't want to dive into every single game he was playing, but man. But his highest point total was 16? No, 21. Sorry, 21. In his 4th game against Nevada, he scored 21, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and he had 2 turnovers in 26 minutes played. I think the most 3-point shots he hit in a game, I believe, where is that? 4. I think it was 4, if I remember correctly. Yeah, no. Sorry, 3. I think 3, that's it. In college. 1, yeah, it was 1 for 3 for 6. Like 4, yeah. I mean, back then the 3-point line wasn't very prevalent, but it's still very interesting to look over all of his stats and see where he kind of came from. But then when in 2014, Zach was drafted number 13 overall by the Minnesota Timberwolves. His mom, funny little thing, that was pretty cool. His mom sewed a quote in the lining of his jacket, and it says, end quote. I always feel like a douchebag when I say that. I didn't say it would be easy. I just said it would be worth it, was the quote his mom put in the lining of his jacket. And this was the year Andrew Wiggins was drafted #1, then Jabari Parker, Joel Embiid, Aaron Gordon, Dante Exum, Marcus Smart, Julius Randle, Nick Stauskas, Elfrid Payton, Doug McDermott, rest in peace. I'm a Chicago Bulls fan. Then Zach LaVine was 13. There was no real, no, Gary Harris still plays. Rodney Hood still plays. Clint Capella at the end of the draft. But that was his draft class. So he's definitely in the top, I would say, as far as players right now, I'd say top 5 out of his draft class. I'd probably pick him maybe #1 as far as right now. In the early years, no, but right now for sure. Because he wasn't at the beginning of his career, as we will see. Where is it? All right, so he comes into the NBA. He's drafted 13th overall. How much money does the number 13th overall pick get? Funny you should ask. He gets basically $2 million flat. His salary for his first year. And so he came off the bench. In the first 5 games of that season, Zach played only 12 minutes. And then Ricky Rubio got injured. Zach LaVine became the starter over Mo Williams. And then, so I'm thinking Flip Saunders thought, hey, let's keep Mo on the bench. That's a role that he's accustomed to right now in this stage of his career. Let's see what this young kid's got. But then he switched back after a while. And then when Zach LaVine, he came off the bench and scored 28 points in a win over the Lakers. He became only the second teenager ever in the NBA to have at least 25 points and 5 assists as a reserve. He moved back into the starting lineup when Williams had some back spasms. Rubio returned, and then playing time dipped for LaVine. And then the Timberwolves traded Williams to give Zach some more opportunity. He played in 77 games that season, started in 40, averaged 10 points, 2.8 rebounds, 3.6 assists while shooting 42% from the field and 34% from the three-point line. And he was named to the all-rookie second team. I'm going to try to go over this real quick. His second season, $2.1 million, fun fact. Rubio sidelined with another injury. He took over the starting point guard spot, Zach LaVine. He scored 35 points against Oklahoma City Thunder. He battled Aaron Gordon in that classic dunk contest. The third season, Minnesota, he got $2.24 million. And that was the year he was injured near the end of the season. He tore his ACL. 10 days later, 10 days later, he had surgery to reconstruct all that stuff. The next season, he was traded that offseason to the Chicago Bulls. And with that 17-18 season, his 4th year in the NBA, he made $3.2 million, so a bump up $1 million. That's kind of nice for him. Congratulations. In 2017, June 22nd, Zach was traded along with Chris Dunn and the rights to Lauri Markkanen, the 7th overall pick in the draft to Chicago, in exchange for Jimmy Butler and the rights to Justin Patton. And then on July 6, 2018, the restricted free agent LaVine received a 4-year, $80 million offer sheet from the Sacramento Kings. 2 days later, the Bulls matched that offer. So this next season, so he finished that season with the Bulls, and then that offseason, he went from getting paid $3.2 million to $19.5 million. So for the next 4 years, he's going to get paid $19.5 million a year. Woo! He was healthy this year. He scored 30 points in the Bulls' first 3 games, becoming the 3rd player in Chicago history to ever do that. Jordan and then Bob Love. He scored a career-high 41, including the game-winning free throw to beat the New York Knicks in a 116-115 double overtime game. So let's see here. He had 47 points in a 168-161 quadruple overtime win against the Atlanta Hawks, the 3rd highest scoring game in NBA history. So that was that season. This last season, so he got the 1920. So this season they got stopped, he made another 19.5 million. Let's see here. In the following season, 2021, he'll get 19.5, and then 21-22 is when he gets 19.5, and then after that it runs out. And I'm sure he's going to get even more money. So this last year that was stopped, Zach LaVine scored a career-high 49 points with 13 three-point field goals, including the game winner in Charlotte. I remember I watched that game. That was a good game. Then he had 44, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, and a 118-106 win. So this guy's been scoring a lot, but it hasn't really contributed to wins, though, unfortunately. Zach's life beyond his profession is his family, his 2 sisters and a couple of friends, his mom and dad, a god sister, and a close friend of his dad's. After the season, they all usually go somewhere in the Caribbean. Zach says, "I'm like a big kid. I like water slides and video games." Who doesn't like water slides and video games? Nazis, so that's who. My dad sits around and plays penny slots all day. My mom and my girlfriend go shopping. I love it. It seems like Zach LaVine has been around for a long time, and it is his 6th NBA season, but he missed almost 2 years with an injury and is still only 24 years old. Zach says, "I have been living my dream. I went through the injury with my knee and got the game taken away from me. I came to Chicago and got the opportunity to be the #1 player, and when opportunity knocks, you've got to open the door. I feel each year I've developed and gotten better, and I am going to continue doing that going forward. I hope you liked the video." That was me, not Zach.